What's going on, folks? It is Kspadetheprospect, back today with a brand new NCAA football video for you guys. We just wrapped up another season here at Ole Miss, man. So far, we've had 10-3 seasons here at Ole Miss, and even though those seasons are considered successful seasons, I feel a little bit disappointed, man, because it's time for me to win the SEC. This is 2 years in a row we've been knocked out of an appearance in the SEC championship game by TMU. Those Texas teams give me problems. We lost to the Longhorns. We lost to TMU. I don't know. We got to get right. But anyway, it's the offseason, so you already know what that means. Most of you guys are watching this video because you want to know if you made it into the recruiting pool. And as always, I'm going to sprinkle that in here somewhere. You never know. Sometimes it's at the beginning. Sometimes it's at the end. Sometimes it's right in the middle. That way you just got to watch. Now, what we're doing right now in the video is redshirting players. Obviously, that's a very important part of this thing, and my redshirting philosophies are not always welcome. You know, people don't really like the way I go through and do my redshirting, but I try not to take like a raw talent, somebody who I know could walk into a program and affect it that year instantly. I try not to redshirt those guys, but at the same time, you know, I have to sit here and look at who's gonna play and how advantageous it would be to sit somebody down and bring them in at a later time. So I get my redshirting done. Now I go to my depth chart, and this thing here is gonna be kind of tough because I redshirted so many people. It's gonna be a few times you're gonna see I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna get ready to put somebody in the starting lineup or even make them a reserve, and it's gonna be like doing this will make this person lose their red shirt status, and I'm like, oh. So here you see how young my receiving core is, and I decided to make a change. We put Micah in the slot, and the reason why we put Sweet Pea Williams as the number 2 is because he's a much better run blocker. People don't think about that when they think about their wide receivers, but those guys got to be able to, hold that DB. A lot of times that defensive back, that cornerback, he's the guy that'll make the tackle, blow the play completely up. So, we got some young people out here, man. I've been telling folks we was a young team, and oddly enough, I think this year we got younger. Like, we lost a lot of upperclassmen, and we're replacing those guys with freshmen and sophomores. We are young out here. So anyway, man, as you can see, man, my backers are so depleted that in a lot of cases we had people out of position playing backups, and very rarely do I see me getting up to the point that I could do a mess up. But if I do, I want to get the guys some playtime and some experience who could actually use it. Not a defensive end playing at backer, not a backer playing at safety, not a corner playing at safety. So I went through, I made some adjustments. I wanted to move around pretty much everybody we had on the field I was cool with, but I wanted to make sure that second person, that second string guy would be ready to play if his number got called. You know what I'm saying? You never know. So as you can see, man, we jumping back out there with another young, inexperienced team. And again, we're taking on the toughest schedule in the nation. That's the challenge that I let you guys place upon me. You guys are Spade. We want to see you struggle. We want to see if you're really nice on the sticks. And we took the toughest schedule in the nation last year, and we went 10-3. And 2 of those 3 losses, we lost by a field goal. Like 6 points was 2 of those losses. Now, I wanted to go through and look at the preseason polls, and you can see we still got a top 10 team. It's funny when I look at my special teams as a D-, and I think about you guys telling me not to cut all those seniors that wasn't on the field. You guys may have been right. Because the special teams oftentimes is made up of reserves, and I depleted my reserves a little bit more. That's my fault. I'll take that. The conference outlook, man, right now they saying just looking at it on paper, Ole Miss is the 4th best team in the SEC West, and I was like, wow, that's kind of tough. The good news is they're saying we the 4th best team in the SEC, so the East really got to get right. They got to tighten up. It's real weak over there. Preseason Heisman Watch features the guys we expected to see here. Young Sale Robbins, this dude has done everything. He's got a national championship. He's got the Davey O'Brien Award. Look, he's got a lot of accolades. And we jokingly said the one that he must really care about is the Heisman. This is 2 times in a row we didn't expect this kid to come back, and he's back again as a 5th-year senior, and he wants the Heisman. So we go to the preseason All-Americans. Of course, you see Sale Robbins there with one of his wide receivers, Mr. Carter, out there. Hey, Mr. Carter, he out there. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, wait a minute, it is no Ole Miss Rebels out here. which I think is a little disrespectful. We was putting in work, and some of these dudes, some of these names you see out here, they ain't did nothing. Anthony Brunson, he got me just like Sale did. Both of those guys snuck me and had 2 kids. Because Anthony got an offensive lineman that he was trying to get in the draft pool, got in the draft pool the previous year. So Anthony, I see you. You and Sale, y'all on timeout, fam. I see both of y'all. Anyway, I go to the second team All-Americans, and finally we see our Ole Miss Rebel. We got Scott Miller right there, who's coming back for his 5th year. He's a redshirt senior. We're going to need him. He is definitely our veteran on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the secondary. And we're going to need this guy to not only make plays, but lead by example. Kind of show those younger guys what we expect. You know, how they go hard at practice. You practice the same way you want to play, all that other good stuff right there. So I looked over everything. We even went to the SEC, and I just feel like we ain't getting the props we deserve, man. I see all these Aggies up here. I see Tennessee all over the place, and I get it. Those guys have been competing for SEC championships or trying to get in that game, and I feel like we've been right there with them, man. We want the respect that we feel like we deserve. Now, I'm going to tell you what was weird. I went to toughest places to play, and I was like, whoa, we lost at Texas, and we lost at TMU. Texas is the toughest place to play. They got a 19-game home win streak. They can get over 100,000 fans in their stadium. The Gators are pretty high as well. Look at Stanford. Stanford is up there pretty high. You got to drop all the way down to 22, which is still pretty good. We got a top 25 toughest place to play. Hey, we boasting an 11-game home win streak over here too, so we getting it in ourselves. Like, we doing our job too. But some of our toughest opponents, I realize why they so tough, man. You got to go out there and deal with that 12th man. That's definitely going to be an issue when you taking a young, inexperienced team on the road. So it's time for me to set up my recruiting board. First thing I do is I go to the top 100 and I sort by interest. And any of these guys who are interested in me, they instantly get added to the recruiting pool because oftentimes they're the easiest people to get commits from, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into why you guys are really here. I'm going to show you the 15 guys, or I'll show you 14 of the 15 guys that made it into it. And just like that, now it's time for me to see if I can scout out the guys I've added to my personal recruiting list, offer some scholarships, see if we can get some commits. First person I'm talking to, Kevin Kirkpatrick. This guy's the number 2 cornerback in the nation. He's kind of short. I think he was only 5'9", but after we scouted him out, we found him to be the truth. 5'9", 194. I called the kid. He said, where do I sign? That's what I like to see. The instant commits really put a smile on my face. And this kid could probably play now. Like, if we could get him out of high school, he could come play now and be on the field. So I'm telling you, man, we so young right now. If you give us a few years, this team is just going to be deadly. So what I did was I went through and scouted everyone out, and then I went back and started to offer scholarships. Patrick Bell said, where do I sign? I said, right here. I got the pen and the paper right here. Sign up. Offensive line is still an area of focus. We're going to be trying to make sure we continue to bolster that offensive line as well as the defensive line. And Kyle Anderson right here is the number 15 defensive end. He's going to help us do that even more. 79 overall after we scouted him out. We get the instant commit from him. So that's a guard, if I'm not mistaken, a defensive end, and a cornerback. These are areas of concern. Now, don't get me wrong. I know we got an issue at backer. Like, I really feel like going into this year, looking for our next great running back is going to be, I don't know, maybe not. I think we got some pretty decent running backs. But number one on the priority list is backers. Outside backers, especially. We kind of weak at outside backer. Those of you that was in the live stream late the other night, you guys got a chance to see. We had to take a strong safety and make him an outside backer. That's just how weak we were at backer. And he ended up being like our best outside backer. So that's that. The rest of these guys, man, I'm just going through, offering scholarships, trying to see if I can get instant commits. You typically won't get it from a guy unless he has you first. And you can see, man, even some of these other guys was like, nah, you're going to have to put some work in. Kevin Jones is the #1 outside backer in the nation. He's an 80 overall. This is what I'm saying. This is what we need. So if my scouting continues to go well, my recruiting goes well, you see what we're doing on the field, man. With the exception of that LSU game, every single game we played, we was in it. Like, them 2 losses was field goal losses, fam. And both of them, we had a very questionable drop pass, which is something we're going to have to deal with because we're so young. But we had very questionable drop passes from some of these younger players that could have swung that game the other way. We could have won both of those games. Now, the LSU game, that quarterback was phenomenal. I hope he went pro. I hope he's not back. Hell, I'm going to call over there and tell him to go pro myself. Anyway, so I'm going to speed up the recruiting. I want you guys to see how this goes. I pretty much just evenly distributed the points amongst everybody else. And once the season starts, I'm going to look and see where everybody is. And the people that look like we're losing out on, I'll take more points from them. Y'all know how I do it. So anyway, folks, we're going to keep this video, I was going to say short. This thing almost 12 minutes long. But I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Bang the like. I do have a screenshot to show you guys before I get out of here. Just as I was about to, well, I actually cut the recording capture off and I advanced to the next week. And one of the recruits made a commitment. He made an insta commit. I was talking about how much I like insta commits. I like them when they're for me. Not so much when they're for the opposition. But anyway, we did lose one of our guys already. Hope it works out for him. I'm out until next time, folks. I'll see you guys in the next live stream tonight. Peace.